Blog Talk Radio.
The paranormal,
ghosts,
spirits,
demons,
reincarnation,
past lives,
the afterlife,
divination,
exorcisms,
witchcraft,
the unseen.
He's psychic medium Chris George.
And he's Victor the Voice Furman.
We are Second Sight Radio.
My name is Psychic Medium Chris George, and I'm joined by my co-host Victor the Voice Furman. Welcome to our show. This is Second Sight Radio. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're airing live from New York City for the next 2 hours. You are listening to us on D.T.M. wickedradio.com, #1 internet radio station in all the land. Why? Because they have us on the network, Victor. I think we do a good job for them.
Absolutely.
Not to mention all the other great shows on the network. Anyway, Vic, last week we had Gypsy Elaine Teague on, and I got to tell you, the first hour, I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. I was completely friggin' lost, and I'm guessing that half of our audience was too. I know that they were saying to themselves, what the hell did Chris and Victor bring on Second Sight this week? Because I was so lost. I mean, really, I was like in a fog. I was
Chris, Gypsy Elaine Teague created, invented, and is the practitioner and high priestess of steampunk magic. Now, if you don't know about steampunk, then steampunk magic is not going to be something that's going to be clear to you. And so just, if you know the steampunk genre, it's something, you know what, Chris, it's something you'd probably enjoy if you became steampunk, or maybe not. But she combined steampunk, the steampunk movement, with magic, and that exactly is what she was talking about the first hour. Second hour, she's talking about wands.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool, and we have a winner of her book on wands. Our old friend Lisa is the winner of her book, Gypsy Lane's book called The Magic of Wands, and she's going to get a copy of that book.
Are you calling Lisa old?
No, she's an old friend. She's been a friend for a long time. She's a young friend for a long time.
Here we go.
Great.
So I just want to tell you, the only thing I know about punk is like Iggy Pop and the Ramones. But, so the first hour kind of like I pretty much slept through. And then the second hour I thought was pretty awesome. I had a good time.
Just remember, her definition of punk is do-it-yourself. So steampunk has to do with Victorian clothing and steam-operated equipment of the Victorian era, the turn of the century. Okay, cyberpunk is about what's today, is about the cyber generation and the clothing and electronics and digital communications.
Okay, the reason why people don't know about this stuff is because it's irrelevant. Anyway. So we have a gemstone of the week, which we won't get to. We do have the birthday segment, and I do have a Church of Second Sight. And I'm going to just tell you something. This my Church of Second Sight. Now, I'm a man. All right, Vic? You're a man. Our guest, he's a man. I am going out against the men I'm on the ladies' side when it comes to the Church of Second Sight tonight. I'm just letting you know that.
I am too. And by the way, you said I'm a man. The last time I looked, I was a man, but I don't know what happened since the last 24 hours. So.
Oh, you're still a man.
I'm not going to do a Church of Second Sight tonight, but I just want to say to our listeners and our friends, those of you who are followers of mine on Facebook know that yesterday I started a kidney stone descending out of my kidney through the ureter. And I was in excruciating pain, went to the doctor. I actually went to work in pain, went to the doctor after that, got a sonogram, went through the whole procedure, drank 3 gallons of lemon juice or lemon water. And I'm happy to say that with all of your prayers and healing energy and good wishes, that stone popped at about 3:30 this morning, and I feel like $1,000,000. I am so blessed to have the friends and all of you who just reached out to me and said, get better soon. We're praying for you. We're sending you healing. Thank you very much. I am grateful. I'm humbled by all of the love that was sent my way. So thank you.
Well, Victor, people really like you. You're a great guy. I can understand why people were sending you well wishes, and I'm glad you popped that last night. I popped last night too, but it had nothing to do with a stone.
But I guess they like me because I'm a pisser.
You are a pisser. That's for sure. I mean, people listen to this show, they can't believe how much of a pisser you are. But anyway. Let's see. My fan page is Psychic Medium Chris George. Victor's fan page is Victor the Voice Furman. And our radio show page is Second Sight. So people, I know you guys have been joining, and I'm happy about that. And hope you enjoy the stuff that we put up there. Get on it. It's Second Sight on Facebook. Check us out. Okay, Victor. Let's see. We have some birthdays this week. Last week I had like 5 people I read. This week I have the biggest friggin' cheetah in the friggin' world. Can't stand him. Pretty boy Tom Brady. Okay. I can't stand Tom Brady. I just want you to know that. I want everyone to understand I cannot stand Tom Brady, and I hope the Jets pop him good this week.
He has a deflated ego, Chris.
Yeah, he's got a deflated ego, and I hope they deflate him when they tackle him this year. Anyway, Martha Stewart, Tony Bennett. Now, see, here's another one. I love Tony Bennett, but why did he have to change his name? But I'm glad he did, because you know what his real name is, Victor?
Antonio Benedetti.
Benedetti, right. And, he should have kept it, because, it's a nice Italian name. Anyway, we got Martin Sheen, we got President Obama, we have Neil Armstrong, we have the amazing Lucille Ball, Andy Warhol, the beautiful Charlize Theron, we have the Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman, Whitney Houston, and a man's man, Victor. I'm going to tell you something. I watched a show one time. Okay, he is the ultimate man's man, Sam Elliott. I watched a movie one time. I don't know what it was, but he cried in the movie. And I remember watching this movie thinking to myself, oh, my God, that's Sam Elliott, and he's crying. And it was like it was real. It wasn't like he was acting. It looked real to me, and it broke me down. Could you imagine? Sam Elliott broke me down? I don't know. Let's not talk about that.
Real men cry, Chris. We know that. Real men cry.
Yeah, but it has to be a good reason. I mean, you stub your toe and you cry. You're a sissy Mary. But if you love somebody and whatever, and then somebody passes away that you love and you cry, okay, that's fine. But don't cry because somebody called you fat, or don't cry because you stubbed your toe. Be a man.
What if your athletic supporter fails?
I've been hitting the onions before, Victor. One time I forgot my cup. I was playing third base. There was a shot down the line. It took a bad hop off. A rock hit me right in the onions. I damn near passed out. But you want to know what I didn't do, Vic? I didn't shed a tear. I didn't.
You're a man's man, kid.
Yeah, I just adjusted myself, and I got right back up there.
There you go.
Anyway, my thought for the week. You could be missing out on the greatest time in your life because you're too scared to make a change or to take a chance. That's called being stuck in a habit. People, get out of your habits. And I bring this up because I read so many people, and so many of them are stuck in bad habits, and they want to know why things don't change for them. Break the habit, and things will change. What do you think about that, Vic?
In the words of the immortal Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Exactly, Victor. So, Mr. Furman, Mr. Voice, the man, the myth, and the legend.
Yes, sir.
Please introduce our guest for tonight.
Chris, our guest tonight is our old friend, Rich Southall. He's the author of How to Be a Ghost Hunter and Haunted Route 66, and has written articles for a number of periodicals, including Fate magazine. He's been featured guest on several national and international radio shows, including The X Zone, Shadows of the Paranormal, Edge of the Unknown, and Spiritual History. Richard lives in northern West Virginia with his family, where he's worked for over 10 years as a substance abuse therapist, and he's the author of the brand new book, Haunted Plantations of the South. Welcome, Rich. Good evening.
Why, good evening. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, thank you. Glad that you're with us.
Yes,
We're
happy you're with us. And this is the second time he's been on our show, Victor, right?
That's correct. Last time was Haunted Route 66.
Haunted Route 66, and I remember I absolutely loved that show. He was a great guest, and I know this would be a great show again tonight. So, Vic, why don't you start us off?
So, Rich, please share with our listeners how you became interested in the world of spirits and the paranormal.
Well, let's just put it this way. Sometimes your life chooses you. We'll just leave it at that. But when I was a teenager, when I was in my early teens back in the 1980s, my family and I moved to a small farmhouse not too far from Ripley, West Virginia. Shortly after we moved in, we found out that the place was haunted. Originally, what would happen is about once every 4 to 6 weeks, we'd hear these steps, like somebody stomping down from the second story to the first story of the house. And at first I thought it was my brother playing a joke on me. You know, he's a little bit older than me. He thought it would be funny. But one night we were watching TV together, and we heard the steps. And after that, I started to do some checking, found out that the place had been reportedly haunted even before we had moved in. There have been apparitions of a Confederate soldier that had been seen in the house, as well as other people have heard the stomping sound. So by doing that, I ended up, like I said, talking to some other neighbors and so on and so forth, and found that our experience wasn't unique. And, well, like I said, sometimes your life chooses you. That's how I got started, and then I kind of expanded from that because where I lived at in Evans, which is right outside of Ripley, it's about 20 miles north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Mm.
Are you familiar with Point Pleasant?
Oh, yeah, that's the
Mothman prophecy.
The Mothman prophecy, right.
That's right, yeah. John Keel, he wrote the Mothman prophecies back in 1975 about the experiences of the Mothman in Point Pleasant in 1966 and 1967. So it was just a hop, skip, and a jump. I went down there, checked it out, talked to some people, and, well, I've been doing it since.
All right. So your first book was entitled How to Be a Ghost Hunter in 2003. What motivated you to write that book?
Well, this was before the reality shows. This was really when the Internet was not what it is today. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Whenever I was in school, I had done some ghost hunting, and I had met with some other people. We had done our own paranormal investigations, but I realized at that time there really wasn't a set protocol. And I thought that, you know, maybe there should be. And what I did was I put together a book based on the ways that I would do an investigation. A lot of people today think that ghost hunting is simply going to a place and trying to find pictures of apparitions or EVPs of voices, but only about 20% of an actual paranormal investigation takes place on site. And this book kind of goes into detail about how to do the investigation, how to interview the people, what to have in your ghost hunting kit, and so on and so forth. So.
All right.
That's how it got started.
Now, with all of the paranormal ghost hunting shows and the fledgling groups that they inspired, what is your take on the state of paranormal investigation in 2015?
It's finally gone mainstream. Back in the day, back in the 80s, not too many people really openly talked about ghost hunting or paranormal investigation. That being said, today, everybody knows what an EVP is or what an apparition is and so on and so forth. Now, actually, I just published an article today on the Llewellyn website about the difference between ghost hunting and paranormal investigation. So, now
I was actually just going to ask you about that. What is the difference? Because when I hear ghost hunting, to me that kind of just drives me crazy because you don't hunt ghosts. So,
no.
What is your definition there?
Well, as I just said, paranormal investigation doesn't usually take place on site. I think with that, you do a lot of research, talking with people. You go to a place called the library. For the younger kids, Wikipedia that. You'll find out what a library is. But a lot of it goes on behind the scenes. With the paranormal investigation, you get the history of the place. You get the possible identity of the person that's haunting the place. With ghost hunting, I think in some cases it's more of a social event. It's more for, just for the excitement of the unknown. So in a lot of places, especially during Halloween, they offer ghost hunts. Usually ghost hunts are more publicized and more mainstream. So there's a slight difference between the two. Now, the similarity is both of both paranormal investigation and ghost hunting, they're trying to find an answer to an unknown question that we as a society, as a people, have been trying to answer for thousands of years.